left on one's own without guidance and goal, one might wander forever. A labyrinth, on the other hand, is a single, highly intricate, but essentially simple path that is followed to the center and back, without false step or even choice, except the basic choice of whether you follow the path or not. Its elaborate design may elude our grasp, and we feel at times lost, gone astray, or even heading away from our goal. But the labyrinth's design is such that every step takes us closer to our goal and then back to our origin. The use of labyrinths in prayer and ritual date back over 4,000 years, but their enchantment is still alive today. My first labyrinth experience was a balmy evening during my second year at college. Noticing my need of fresh air and stress relief, a friend introduced me to the Rodman Hall Terrace Labyrinth, a place I had walked by many times, not realizing the cobblestones formed an 11-circuit labyrinth, a replica of the labyrinth set into the floor at the Chartres Cathedral in France. Each time I have walked it since has been its own unique experience. Sometimes it is cold, sometimes warm, sometimes in the sun, sometimes at night, once in the rain, sometimes with shoes, and sometimes without. I once read walking cobblestones barefoot is good for your health, both stimulating acupuncture points on the soles and promoting good posture. Although sometimes I walk to clear my mind, I do a lot of thinking while following the circuits. Good posture, standing tall. Don't they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything? Lately, I've tried to stand for a lot, standing for those who can't stand or speak for themselves. While on an immersion trip to Nicaragua, I realized more than ever how our actions at home can have a ripple effect, reaching far beyond our country's borders. I met people who worked with the fear that the Taiwanese-owned USA brand clothing factory they worked for might close shop over the weekend, leaving them jobless on a Monday morning. And I met people whose job was to attract factory investors, their biggest selling point being Nicaragua's wages of 70 cents per hour, the lowest in Latin America. At the same time, I played soccer with children whose dad sold his coffee to a local farming co-op and received a fair price. I laughed with the women of the Nueva Vida sewing co-op who shared in part ownership of the company. This year, I stood up with thousands as we protested the School of the Americas at Fort Benning, Georgia, a U.S.-run facility training Latin American soldiers in war tactics that promote anything but democracy and peace. And most recently, I helped others stand for what they believe in and speak their minds in Washington, D.C. on a weekend advocacy trip. As you walk the Rodman Labyrinth, you can't help but notice the individual cobblestones that make up the path. Alone, a cobblestone may seem insignificant, but when put together, they create something much greater. The acts I have taken this year to stand and speak for something meaningful seem well and good, the acts and efforts of one person. But although at times it seems difficult to see, our combined single acts can create something much more. If I combine my acts with those of the friends I traveled with to Nicaragua, and the SOA protest, and those who went to Washington, and those who share food and friendship with the homeless of Cleveland each Friday night, and those who planted flowers and cultivated community this spring in the poorest areas of the city, along with everyone else who is doing good in their own way. Well, then, we might just be able to work towards, reach, and promote something. One suggestion for walking a labyrinth is to enter with a question.